Imagine stepping through the gates of a prison where escape is impossible, where danger is not a distant threat, but a constant companion, lurking behind every corner. Welcome to Her Majesty's Prison Belmarsh, the most secure facility in the UK, home to serial killers, murderers, terrorists and gang members alike. But beneath its fortress-like exterior lies a world far darker than you can imagine. What does it take to survive in such a place? Stick with me, because I'm about to take you inside one of the most perilous, high-stakes environments you'll ever encounter. And trust me, you won't want to miss the shocking truths that will unfold. Stick around until the end of this video to find out how violence, drugs and gang warfare define life inside Belmarsh, and how it truly feels to survive it. The gangs of Belmarsh. Inside Belmarsh, it's not just about the most dangerous criminals, it's about the gangs that rule the roost. But here's the thing, it's not just about survival, it's about dominance. Imagine being in a prison filled with the worst of the worst. Inmates aren't just sitting in their cells, they're fighting for control of drugs, territory and respect. Heroin is traded like currency here, easier to get than a pillow, and violence is never far behind. The environment inside, it's a pressure cooker. Everyone is angry, waiting for that spark to ignite chaos. And when it does, you're either part of it or you're its victim. But here's the real kicker. If you're too soft, you're a target. When the door opens in Belmarsh, you don't know if you'll be walking out or being carried out. Let's dive deeper into what really goes on behind these steel bars. The prison within the prison. This is where the story gets even darker. 64 gangs operate within Belmarsh, each one more deadly than the last. They don't just fight over petty disputes. These are life and death battles over power, drugs, and respect. Bobby Kasanga, once a member of the notorious Peckham Boys gang, has seen it all. He remembers how the violence escalated as rival gangs clashed. We were all in one place. Brixton, Peckham, Tottenham, all the gangs from London. It was like a time bomb waiting to explode. And it did. Violent fights erupted constantly, over things as trivial as an insult or an old score to settle. But the worst part, this violence doesn't stop at the prison gates. It follows you wherever you go. And the prison itself becomes a battleground, where the fight for control is a matter of survival. The daily struggle. You think the worst is over, right? Think again. Even if you're not part of a gang, simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time can be a death sentence. Andrew Pritchard, a former drug lord, spent 2 years in Belmarsh after a £1 million cocaine bust. When I stepped into Belmarsh, I knew it was a different world. You never know who you'll bump into, someone who's got a vendetta, or someone who's looking to make a name for themselves. The tension is palpable. The prison's brutal, no-holds-barred culture creates an environment where violence is the answer to everything. And believe me, if you're not ready, you won't last long. Life in the hotspot. Former officers and inmates alike agree. Belmarsh is a powder keg. But what happens when the fuse is lit? Imagine walking into a gym thinking you're just going to work out. Then, out of nowhere, someone cracks another man in the face without warning. No reason, no previous grudge, just orders from a higher up in the gang. That's what life is like in Belmarsh. You're constantly on edge. Everyone is waiting for something to happen, and it does. Violence is the air you breathe, and that's not just inmates. Even officers can feel the weight of it. Paul Whitman, a former prison officer, recalls the chilling moment when he saw an inmate walk over and, without hesitation, use a tuna can lid to slit someone's face wide open. No remorse, no fear, just the cold, calculated brutality that defines the world inside. The unseen prison culture. Here's where things get even more unnerving. While some prisoners are focused on gang violence and power struggles, others are simply trying to survive. But survival comes at a cost. When you're inside Belmarsh, the world outside doesn't matter anymore. The most dangerous criminals are mixing with first-time offenders, creating a volatile mix of personalities. And if you're new, you're probably sharing a cell with someone you've never met, who may or may not be planning your demise. Think about it. A kid, fresh off the street, thrown in with seasoned killers and gang members. What do you think happens next? The daily battles. So, how do you survive in such an environment? For most, it comes down to being tough. If you're not tough, you won't last. But there's more to it. You need to be smart. You have to know how to navigate this deadly game, how to pick your battles, and when to step back. But stepping back isn't always an option, because as Bobby and Andrew discovered, in Belmarsh, you're often forced into situations that require you to fight back or be destroyed. It's a game of chess, where one wrong move could end it all. And when you're in a cell, you don't know if you're sharing it with a killer or someone who's already made their name in blood. The final truth. Living on the edge. Here's the twist. The hardest part of all, you can never let your guard down. Not for a second. Former inmates often talk about the constant state of anxiety. You don't know when or where the next fight is coming, but you know it's coming. And if you're not prepared, you won't survive. In a place like Belmarsh, where every day is a battle for survival, the question becomes, what does it take to make it through? The answer isn't simple. It takes more than just toughness. It takes a deep, primal will to survive, to endure the unimaginable, to face the darkest side of human nature, and somehow keep going. So, what happens to those who survive Belmarsh? Some make it out, having learned lessons about resilience, about how far they'll go to survive. Others, however, are left broken, lost in a world they never fully understood. Is it possible to escape the violence, the chaos, the prison mentality? For many, the answer is a painful no, but for some, it becomes a new beginning. And as you reflect on the depths of Belmarsh, remember this: it's not just a prison for the body, it's a prison for the mind. If you found this story as chilling as I did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe Dangerous Truth TV for more untold stories from the darkest corners of the world. Don't miss out on the next shocking revelation about life inside the world's most dangerous prisons.